Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vijay Songire. I have brought a session for you on vocabulary manual, which is very important topic for the language learners. Let's understand what is a meaning of vocabulary. Vocabulary is nothing but a specific language use in each and every language. The use of word is called vocabulary. It is a collection of words. Okay, now you go through this paragraph and then there will be few questions for you and you have to identify the right answer. Okay, I think you must have gone through this passage. It's a very small paragraph. Try to understand basically the central idea of this passage, then the keywords. Whenever you are going through such paragraph, then you should identify the central theme. Then you need to go through the keywords. Keywords means important words. Okay, then only you can find out the right answers. Now see, you need to identify the appropriate title for this paragraph. There are three options for you: agriculture and economy, agriculture and its methods, then farming developmental phases in India. 2 minutes time is given and actual time is 2 minutes, but here while running this video we cannot wait, so practice for the same and see whether you are able to identify the right answer. The right answer here is agriculture and economy, because economical aspect is very much correlated in the passage with agriculture. Okay, now there are types of vocabulary. The very first one is reading vocabulary, which helps the learner to understand the meaning of a passage or any extract that is given. It is the words understood by the reader when he or she is reading a piece of written text. When you are reading any specific passage or any newspaper, any novel, then if you understand the meaning, it means you recognize the words, you know the meaning of that word, and it is called the strength of your reading vocabulary, isn't it? If you don't remember the meaning of a specific word which is there in a novel, then your reading vocabulary is poor. Very simple. There is listening vocabulary as well. When you are listening to any audio, you are listening to any podcast, you are listening to any specific speech, then while listening to that specific content, if you are not able to recognize the meaning of that specific content, then it means poor listening. It is again called the person has poor vocabulary when it comes to listening vocabulary context, means you are not able to recognize the meaning of that word at that specific time. Okay, now see, it is also a passive type of vocabulary. The listener is able to link the words being spoken to their meaning. This level of understanding is aided by word context, intonation, and if there is visual contact with the speaker, by gestures and facial expressions. Listening is like reading, an interpretational form of vocabulary, because when you are listening, You are trying to interpret the content spoken by the speaker with the help of the vocabulary that you have stored in your mind, isn't it? Then it is writing vocabulary. How do you express your ideas in written format? It is active vocabulary, equivalent to reading. With reading, it forms the core skills needed for someone to be literate. The writer demonstrates his or her knowledge of a word in terms of its meaning and how to spell it and use it correctly. For example, you writing your own resume, your own biodata, then what type of words you use to express your skills, to express your goals or the objectives of your career, isn't it? So how do you express yourself in words? So, if you have a very good vocabulary and you are able to write it on page, then it means written vocabulary. And speaking vocabulary, it is usually observed that the students, the learners who are trying to learn the third language, they may find some difficulty in speaking vocabulary. They are able to listen, they are reading novels, short stories, they even start listening to different content, but when it comes to speaking, they lack speaking vocabulary. They are not able to remember specific words. There is repetition of specific words which are active in their memory. So, speaking vocabulary is very important. It is an active demonstration that can also rely on other elements such as facial expressions, intonation, speech, and gestures to help others understand its meaning. Knowledge of a word is demonstrated by its good usage and pronunciation. So, pronunciation also matters a lot when you are speaking, isn't it? Now, you need to prepare 10-line speech here on any one of the following. It will definitely indicate what type of written vocabulary you have, either poor, active, or excellent. There are these topics, so practice for it. These parts of speeches you have to practice if you want to improve your word building. Right from verb, nouns, adjectives, then adverbs. These are the these are basically the important parts of speech when it comes to vocabulary building. Again, use of vocabulary in writing is very important here. See the second one paragraph here. Most importantly, there are so many activities that I get to do during summers, like joining summer camps, cycling, swimming, and more. Summers are so bright and exciting that it has always been my favorite season. So even in these last lines, being a reader, I can understand that summers the summer season is appreciated, isn't it? Again, there is some exercise given. You read this essay, my favorite personality, and for practice purpose, identify any personality and prepare it in your own way. There are some exercises. You have to collect some words. You should do some reading exercise, identify different parts of speeches. When you are reading any novel, any short story, then do it as an exercise. There is mind game as well. Just imagine that you are just sitting in a garden and collect some words over there. Whatever you are observing there visibly, whatever the objects visible, you collect those words. There are some other exercises like puzzles, listening to audio, videos, podcast, etc. Preparing description. For example, you are sitting at a railway station, then describe the things. It will again help you to improve your word building. You just go through this, identify the right answers over here, and you can share it in the comment box. So thank you very much for attending this session. In case of any difficulty, write me in the chat box. Again, there is one small exercise for preparing a description. You can describe this picture. So thank you very much for attending this session.